Hey everybody, welcome to Saturday Scares with Kyle. I'm your host Kyle Goethe from GoatFilmReviews.com, and today we're breaking down a Paul Naschy starring film, but it's not the one you might think. We're talking Count Dracula's Great Love, and I actually have this film on DVD as part of the Elvira collection. It is partnered with Frankenstein's Castle of Freaks. This has the uncut version of the film, and you can watch it with or without Elvira, but why would you watch it without Elvira? The film is directed by Javier Aguirre, who I knew from another Giallo-style film called The Killer is One of 13, which is on Shudder. It's a pretty cool little slasher/Giallo film. It stars Paul Naschy in a dual role. He plays Count Dracula, and he also plays Dr. Wendell Marlowe, who might be the same guy, but might not be. We don't really say. He basically takes all of these collective people into his home when they are having trouble on their passage, and begins to seduce the various women, take them as his new brides. But the thing about it that's interesting is that this isn't a traditional Dracula story. In fact, we are led to believe that Dracula was a real person who died, but then we find out that he is still in fact operating, and it's because he's trying to find a virgin to sacrifice to bring back his long-lost daughter. It's a great idea to talk about this movie now because we have films like Abigail. We've had Universal films like Dracula's Daughter. Dracula's Daughter has been a part of that mythos in the film versions for quite a long time, so it makes sense to kind of revisit this one. I don't have a lot of Paul Naschy stuff in my film viewing repertoire, but he is most well known for playing the tortured werewolf known as Waldemar Daninsky in, I think, 13 movies. He's in a ton of movies as this werewolf, so it was weird to see him as a vampire. That just kind of stood out to me from the outset. Basically, this was a production that was just laden with problems. There was multiple times where people got injured on set. One of the actresses, Nick Palodichuk, got hit in the head and had to leave production for a good amount of time, and so they literally abandoned this movie and then went to go make another movie. The director and actor made a film called The Hunchback of the Morgue. That movie, when it was finished, then they came back and kept filming this one. So if you see some differences in like hair, some differences in makeup, that's because they were just kind of picking up the pieces and continuing on. None of the plot of this film, while being interesting to the Dracula mythos, it's nothing new. None of the characters are really all that interesting, and that includes Dracula himself. So what makes the film worth watching? I think for me, it comes down to the atmosphere. This movie has atmosphere for days. It has a nice visual flair to it. It feels like it was stolen from Italy. There's the fog budget on this movie would have made Lucio Fulci just lose his mind. But it does have a nice visual appeal to the film. There is a creepiness. I mean, they shot this in, kind of war-torn locations as well, like old crypts, like old underground areas where they could kind of make it look castle-like. The film feels like it's taking a little bit from Hammer and a little bit from Italy and kind of making its own thing. I've never seen a film that feels so reminiscent of other movies, but yet has performers in it that are just so drastically different in the way that they access their characters. All that being said as well, he's doing the same thing over and over again. This is basically a slasher film. He meets a woman, he bites a woman, there's probably some sexual encounter, and then they move on to the next one. It's kind of a proto-slasher in a lot of ways. What you've got, though, is you do have his character, showcasing how he is searching and failing to find a virgin, which is kind of funny on its own, that he's searching through these women who claim to be virgins and finding out that most of them aren't. My big takeaway, though, was that, my God, Javier Aguirre really wanted to show vampires biting people, because I think this is probably the most vampire bites I've ever seen in a movie. Every 5 minutes there's a vampire chewing on someone, and sometimes there's 2 or 3 vampires chewing on someone. It's a nice forward momentum here.
It's
a
nice
healthy
thirst right there.
Yeah, sometimes you got to get your thirst on. If you have seen this film, it's possible that you've seen it under one of the alternate titles. It was released in the late 70s as Cemetery Girls, because they wanted to highlight the sexual appeal of the film without highlighting Paul Naschy, which feels like you're kind of losing one of the main star things that you could actually sell with the movie. It was released on a double bill originally with the Vampire Night Orgy. So again, they're going to that level of, you want to see nudity and you want to see blood? Come check out these movies. It felt like they didn't know how to market Count Dracula's Great Love. And I think that's maybe one of its problems to its detriment, is that I think it would have gone underappreciated had it just appeared on, had it not appeared on Elvira. She did save a lot of these like lower budget films by just having them on, and she makes fun of it the entire time through because it's not a great movie, but there is an appeal to it. It's got a nice pace to it. There is a great visual appeal. It is exciting at times, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. Not enough to say that I can wholeheartedly tell you it's one of the best vampire films of all time, though. But if you are looking for a different flair from the werewolf Paul Naschy, give this one a try. I think it's worth your time. So if you've seen Count Dracula's Great Love, let me know down in the comments section below what your thoughts are on the film. Maybe you love it a lot more than I do. Maybe you just absolutely loathe it. I'm interested in either take. Let me know down below because it is kind of an odd film. And I look forward to discussing it with you later. Don't forget to join us next week. We're going to stay with our vampire theme a little bit here. We're going to talk about a vampire cult that has a hidden headquarters underneath a cemetery, which sounds like already it's a 5 out of 5, million out of 5 movie. We're going to be talking about The Devils of Darkness next time. So join us. 1965.